But then they were giving notes in the back, and I think Rick Kearns was like, "What was the deal with the jacket?" And
That's a good Rick Kearns.
And he was
what
like,
were you doing with the jacket? That jacket. What were you doing with the jacket?
Everyone's talking.
What the jacket?
"You took that jacket off. I thought there were gonna be some big gazungas underneath there." That's a real Rick move. You got me all excited about the gazunga jacket off. Get your gazungas out. Okay. Soda pops.
Oh,
Soda
okay.
pops.
Okay.
Thank you.
There you go.
Hold on, I gotta put my jelly beans in my pocket, so I don't.
3 tugs and you're playing with it or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I heard that. My cousin told me that.
3 tugs that
okay.
you're playing with?
Whatever it is.
Is that one of those knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me type thing?
No, you know,
You know that song? Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Twice on the pipe if the answer is no.
Are you
this-
from 1920?
Is this
Y'all
one
gotta
of
get
your
gay or
people's
something.
show tunes?
Yeah, this is a character I'm working on.
Who's this character? Name the character.
This is Fleetwood Carmel. He's kind of a twit, but he was born in 1910, so he's been around. Hasn't aged today. The government knows, very hush-hush.
All this is getting cut.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I can't open
open it?
because I can't with my.
Yeah.
This is a twist off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There it is.
Ooh.
What a satisfying sound.
Mm.
There you go.
Because I knew.
Oh,
gunshot.
Oh. One of us just falls down. We die.
Well, this is the podcast.
This is it.
This is Roger.
That's me.
That's Cameron.
Hi. Hello.
All 10 listeners know Cameron. You may not know Roger.
Probably not. Who knows?
Roger's a nice man.
I love how there's no. I've been listening to your podcast a lot, and there's no theme music.
Nah.
It's just like
Cold start.
yeah.
We get right
I
into it.
I love it. I love it so much. I told this to Mike last night that you are Pete Holmes if he didn't get divorced and didn't get cheated on initially.
If he stayed a youth
If
pastor.
he stayed and he didn't get cheated on all that stuff. Because this is so much you made it weird. This is that podcast.
Yeah, you
just
don't have the-
so much more wholesome.
The trauma scars
It's great.
aren't there.
Yeah.
You haven't been broken as a human.
We don't talk about like deep not Zionist, but like zodiac philosophy.
Yeah, whatever. I can't remember what it is that he's like all
He's
the
always
different.
talking about like ashwagandha.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Oh,
I
yeah,
if I lost my love for our Lord and Savior, I'd probably go down a
Sure.
real big mushroom.
You become like a Taoist or something?
Yeah, just searching
Yeah,
for
easy.
anything at all to fill the gap.
That's pretty accurate.
Well, a couple
This
things.
is Pete Holmes fulfilled
Yeah.
right now.
This is
Not broken Pete Holmes.
This is ascended Pete Holmes.
Yeah. It's Pete Homely.
Okay.
Pete Wholesome.
There's the riff. There's the improv.
Yeah,
That's the name of the
yeah.
episode.
Comedy.
Hey, Pete Wholesome.
Pete Holston. Pete Holston. Real homely type
Yep,
of man.
there he is.
Pete
Wholesome
Holmes. Pete
Yeah.
Holes.
Pete.
That's me.
That's you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like Pete
There we go.
Davidson, but
I wanted to make sure I wasn't getting left behind as you two were attending Riff City.
Oh.
I had nothing to contribute.
It's
missed
fine.
the train.
It's
I
fine.
missed the train.
We can just move the camera over and it can just be me and camera. That's fine.
No one would know.
Kick you
it's
out
called
of
the
your own
familial
podcast.
Just put my glasses on either one of you, and they go like, probably. That's probably the same guy.
one lens each.
There is one listener in like I think the UK.
Are you sure that's not Greg Ellis?
I don't know who Greg Ellis is.
Oh, you don't? Oh, that was a
good
funny,
name.
that was a
So
funny
if-
joke for anyone for the one person who knows me who's listening to this.
Well, if it is Greg Ellis, thank you, Greg. But so he wouldn't know, but like my mom would be able to tell that you weren't me, but Greg would not know.
If you give me 3 days, I could convince the world I'm you vocally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could capture you.
Okay, do your best Russell right now.
I'm Cameron. Your impression of me is so much more spot on for an impression of you, because you posted that video and I was like, he sounds like himself off stage.
Yeah.
God,
Hey, I'm married.
that was such a funny video. I
loved it
so much.
Oh,
I hate that you wrote that bit, and I don't get to use it.
I
That's
wrote-
the worst part. Is that it's a you joke.
We were supposed
through
to.
me.
I was supposed to be doing his jokes, but I thought it was funnier if I just said a bunch of stuff and attributed it to Cameron.
Which I like.
So like I had a joke about like slavery is a good thing. That I'm like, and Cameron says this, but that joke is now that I wrote only for that show to attribute to Cameron is now my actual closer that I use. It was a really good joke.
I was blown away.
It was a great joke.
I was blown away, one, that I hadn't written it, and that you, and that you're not gay, and that wasn't actually said to you.
It's
and I
the
was like,
perfect
"God
gay
damn,
joke."
It's the perfect
Yeah,
father
I can do
because
anything.
I'm queer.
Name
I can
a
do
minority. I can do it.
Yeah. Ukraine.
Oy. Gushkishki.
You don't know how things go in Kiev. You are not in tune with the Ukrainian lifestyle. It's a little Russian, but it's Kiev. He was like, Kiev.
This is not your showcase, okay?
fine.
This is for me and Roger to hang out. You just happen to be here.
I actually have to remember that I'm not listening to the podcast in my
you're
car
on
right
it.
now. That
You're
I'm
on
in
it.
the podcast. I'm just like, oh no, I'm gonna be participating.
You're living it.
I'm gonna give the microphone.
No.
I'm just gonna exist.
No.
This is what being new talent coordinator feels like. By the way, you
giving it to
you
everybody
participate. You're part of this.
I'm just a parrot on
and-
a shoulder at this point.
So we're
sorry,
here
it's way
in the
too hot for
Comedy
me.
Works green room. I only have my little audio interface only has 2 XLR cable jacks. So we just, if you're listening and you're like, why does Cameron sound far away sometimes?
He is.
Because Roger is just passing the
I'm trying
microphone.
really
He's
hard.
just mediating. I appreciate it deeply. Also, Roger, what are we drinking today?
It's the Dr. Wells. I forgot. I'm enjoying it so much, which I've been wondering whenever I was going to be on if I was going to have a soda that no one, because so many people don't like your sodas that you give them.
Yeah. It's
and
really
I was
frustrating.
nervous if I was going to not like what you were going to give me, and then you got me like the knockoff Dr. Pepper.
I think the only people who have liked their sodas was Cameron, because I got him a Werner's specifically at his request, and Jason Alexander, because he had a Dr. Pepper specifically at his request.
Oh, yeah.
You also wanted Dr. Pepper, so I got you
yeah.
cheap knockoff Dr. Wells. But don't worry. There's Pib. There's Dr. Thunder. There's so many Dr. Pepper adjacent sodas. We can do Pepper forever.
Man, I haven't had Dr. Thunder in a minute too. I love Dr. Thunder.
Dr. Thunder tastes like a Dr. Pepper left outside in a rainstorm. That's what it tastes like. It's good.
Mr. Pibb is a Dr. Pepper that got disbarred.
Pibb.
Is that
It's
how
a
it works?
bottle.
Do you get Do you just get disbarred from
No,
doctoring?
you get your medical license revoked.
That's what it is.
Because you get taken to like civil court, and then they're like, "Hey, man, the hospital's not going to pay this."
Hospital left tubes in my mom.
Whoa. Back up. What? Okay, there's something.
android?
Oh,
My mom in like 2018 got like open heart surgery. She had like fungus growing on her heart somehow. Yeah. Nasty woman.
this stuff is not. That's nothing to mess with.
No,
though.
yeah. And the doctor was like, she's a perfectly like healthy lady. And they're like, we only see this on like heroin addicts. Like, we don't know how you got this on your heart. So then when I saw my mom in the hospital, I'm like checking her like arms and wrists in between her toes just to make sure she's not doing heroin on the side. But yeah, she got like fungus on her heart. So they had to do open heart surgery. And then afterwards, after, week or two, she's like, I don't feel good. Turns out, oops, they left some like tubes in her.
Whoa.
Some like medical tubes. So she went back. They did surgery to get like the tubes out. She had to
Still
go back
charged
in.
her for it too.
Of course, still charge her for it. And then she had to go back in a couple days later because they're like, we may have left a sponge or something in there when we were trying to get the tubes out.
Is she a board game? What's going on? What?
You honestly, it's very surprising being married to a healthcare professional. To hear the stories of exactly that, like that stuff happens way more often than I ever would have guessed, and it makes me never want to get sick, and I never want to go under the knife.
Yeah.
And I don't trust.
Well, they do the thing where if they're gonna get like a leg chopped off, they have to they'll put a marker X on the leg.
Yeah.
To, make sure
Yes.
the right leg gets
Yes.
chopped off
Yeah.
because the wrong leg has got chopped off
has.
before.
I've
I've
You've
had
had
that.
your leg chopped off, the wrong leg.
This is teak.
I
I have to oil this.
Nut surgery, and it was the
You
right
did have-
one. It was the right one. And
Really?
so I had to mark this knee and say it's this one. And I wrote a whole paragraph on this one. I was like, please do not touch the left one. It is perfectly fine. Everything is fine on the left
This
side.
one is
You'll
my
notice.
best friend.
I was like, you'll notice the difference. This one's a potato. But it was,
Wow.
yeah. But I had to mark my leg. And I had like Achilles
Yeah.
surgery. You feel like a child marking it for another child. Like, this is where.
Do you
I'm
think
like,
there's ever
Let's
been a
see what
woman
we
who's
can
gone
myself.
in for
It's
like
crazy.
breast augmentation surgery, but she accidentally got hair plugs?
She got Bosley instead of boobs.
It's just all hairy down there now. She's just got two toupees stapled
I
to her
just don't
chest.
like thinking about this at all.
She's only got Wolfman's disease on her tits. Is that what you're saying? That's a crazy hypothetical, Russell.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, so fun.
I have Boyland. Speaking of
Oh, yeah.
Cameron's
what's your,
here too.
Your drink?
Cameron, what do you
Cameron
have?
has a drink.
Let's see. Thank you guys. I just want to thank the Academy. I have Boylan cane cola cane sugar. 1891, good year.
I think
Okay.
Boylan's is a Colorado, like a Colorado. I might be wrong, but I think they're a Colorado like soda
I wanted to say
create
take, but I-
because they're like every like independent burger place that's like we're a mom and pop burger place, but we're elevated. Like if you know like Skirted Heifer
Oh yeah, yeah.
or like
yeah.
those kind of places.
Yeah.
Bingo Burger. They all have Boylan sodas.
Well, there's a Colorado natural soda brand that I worked at a deli, and that's the one you're thinking of because it's kind of a nameless one, but it's just like Colorado based. Delicious pop,
Yes.
good stuff, and it's like good cane sugar sodas.
Okay, other question. You called it pop just now.
Yeah.
Are you pop Coke? What are you soda?
it's funny.
What's your thing?
Well, as a Canadian kid who grew up in Michigan with a Texas mom, I grew up with all in the
Yo.
household. So my grandpa says soda pop. My dad says pop. My mom says Coke, but means all of them. And then I say pop. Soda makes my heart hurt. So it's pop to me. But I know it's wrong, and I don't care.
I mean, I say Coke, and I think
But that
I'm
means
really the
anything.
wrong. It means anything, but I
It
think
is
I'm wrong. Your pop makes more sense, but I can't bring myself to say pop because I feel like I'm just sinning.
My accent's just nasty, so it's just like pop, pop, pop
Yeah.
in my childhood, and I liked it.
Just shooting off guns.
Yeah.
This might be the most we've ever talked about soda on the podcast. and
I
couldn't be
was
happier.
wanting to
I couldn't
make a
be
point of
happier.
actually trying to talk about
Talking
soda
about-
pop and talk about Coke and everything because I listen to your podcast all the time and no one really was like, hey, I'm drinking this, and then or sometimes you didn't even talk about your drinking. You're just like, oh, that sucks anyway, and that's it. And I wanted
No
to
one
actually
likes
talk
it.
about this stuff.
I
wanted
had
to talk
Tracy
about it.
Tracy Keller on the last one, and she took a sip of her orange soda, and she's like, God, that's sweet. And I just go, that's soda. Not everything
that's
can
what
be
it is.
a bitter shot of whiskey. Sometimes things are sweet and nice.
Why doesn't this have that burn at the end?
Why doesn't this make me hate my dad?
Yeah. I still remember him. What's going on with it?
Roger, how's your relationship with your father?
Oh, it's non-existent.
Okay,
'Cause
good.
He died about 20 years ago.
20 years ago?
I think so.
go,
What is
Russ.
it? No, 22 years ago.
Today.
Your joke
We're
makes
actually
it-
pretty close to the anniversary. We're about a week off.
No.
I'm not even shitting you. That's like what I find so funny is how people ask me, like comics in the scene will be like, "Hey, so how's your relationship with your mom or with your dad?" I'm like, "You clearly haven't seen my comedy where I joke exclusively about them being dead, and
Your
that's
whole
my
big closer is
my
your
whole
dad is
closer
dead.
is my dad is dead and that he's died from cancer, and my mom got sick, got sad, and became an alcoholic, and then died."
Yeah.
And still people are like, "Oh, so are you going home for the holidays?" People still
You
all
don't
the
know.
time.
It could just be a riff, you know. Cameron talks about being bisexual the whole time. We all know that's just a bit.
Yeah. It's just a front for me to get booked.
How's that working out for you?
Great. Fucking kills.
Oh, but as well as a owl that we know, I'm sure. How much shit can we talk on this podcast? Because there's also
You're
some
allowed.
things cool. Because there's things I can't talk about, but I'll talk shit on that guy
I think
for that.
Yeah, that was funny.
I think I've only bleeped like, oh, my family friend's name kind of thing. I don't think I've bleeped any
Yeah.
comedian names.
The only
So
time
it depends.
I've ever bleeped is if you say a personal name that I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I probably don't want to say
Yeah, right.
Victoria online.
But yeah, everyone got real mad at the Badgerine,
whoops.
which I was surprised. I thought the Colorado Springs group chat was gonna blow up talking about that. No one said anything.
We didn't even like
Eh,
the
didn't
even notice.
like we saw it and went okay, and then
I
moved
thought it was
on.
just like
Just another Wednesday.
It
That's
just-
fine.
Kinda.
Not-
That's why I don't like Facebook. That's actually what I did. I was like, I don't like this, and then moved on.
Yeah.
not to like defend it, but it just his whole post was like, I should change my pronouns to she, they, so I get booked more, or something like that.
Yeah, to she, her.
Which didn't seem transphobic. It just seemed like that's what an old boomery guy would say. Like it seemed like an arrogant, not an arrogant, like an ignorant old guy joke, and less so like I hate trans people. But maybe I just know a lot of guys like Al.
Yeah, and I think it was more so what was going on in the comments after he said that. I think is really where
I didn't see that. I saw one initial post, and then which then got deleted. That post itself got deleted afterwards. But yeah,
'Cause
then
he
everyone's
said,
like, I'm gonna kill Al. I'm
Well,
like, okay,
'cause-
let's
Because
all
he
calm
was
down.
saying like, "Oh, I'm being serious. This isn't a joke. I'm being serious." I'm like, "Are you saying I'm being serious as a joke?" And like, do you not see?
Oh, was he in the
what
comments
you're-
like getting
Yeah,
in there?
and it
Oh,
was
I didn't
just-
see any
yeah,
of that.
Yeah, yeah. And it was just like, dude, maybe just don't. Like, this was weak in 2018 for you
Right.
to post something like this anyway. Like, congratulations on having that quote unquote edgy thought. Like, who gives a shit? But like, we all went through the trauma of having the Emilys in the scene for so long. Can we just not do that ever again? Could you just not make a stupid post like that? You're just not doing yourself any favors.
Sure, yeah.
And that's all.
It's
like,
also not the most. Yeah,
He
it's
wasn't-
not the most cutting edge
no,
kind
it's
of
not.
humor
And it's-
for
and-
professional
And
comedians.
it's like, congratulations, you're commenting on the fact that there's not enough women in the scene, and where people are actively booking women to help fill it out a bit and show diversity and show a good thing and try to help encourage other girls and other women. Like, hey, this is a space for you too. You should do this. Like, if you have an all dudes lineup. Anyway, I can go on this soapbox for way too long, but it's just like, just don't, dude. Like, that was the thing. Congratulations on making this observation. We all kind of grew up since then, so maybe just don't. He could have seen so long ago, like, into making that post. That's where I get mad. I get mad at him. It's like looking at it, it's like, dude, you should know better. Like, to let this live as long as you did, you should have deleted that so fast.
58?
So fast.
62?
Man. Yeah, right?
Like old enough to know
yeah.
better.
Yeah, it's like, and you already fucked up enough to rub your nuts on someone's fucking whatever it is, the
First of all,
wallet.
I think it was butthole.
I can't remember what it
They're
was.
very close.
They are
close
close,
enough.
especially the older you get.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, the only good pronoun joke that exists, the only good one I've heard is Jeff Tice's. Jeff Tice is a big man. He says, my pronouns are fee, fi, fo, fum. That's great.
That's great.
That's the only good pronoun joke I've ever heard. Like, my pronouns are.
Yeah.
I've said this before, but me and Mike Hammock did a show in Brush, Colorado, and we're like, dude, we should have come up with shirts that were like, my pronouns are, like, my pronouns are beer me.
Oh yeah.
Like, we would have sold a million
So
shirts
many.
to those people.
Yeah.
We would have we would have made bank.
But I
I
mean,
know Brush.
that like joke setup and premise is so old now.
Yeah.
And like, I have one that I never even say. It's like, oh, I met a donkey whose pronouns are he ha. That's it.
That's
it's
silly.
so dumb.
That's a silly
That's a
little
silly one, but
one.
I'm never gonna ever.
That's
That's
fun.
the only time it's ever gonna be said. But like, we ended up. I
That's
think it was
fun.
like new talent. We had we had one new talent show where it was like 3 or 4 comics in a row. Each made a like, my pronouns are, or they's like, oh yeah,
Kiss
the
my
pronoun, like,
ass.
yeah, and it's just like,
I heard
Jesus, we
one-
get it.
It was a guy. My pronouns are I'm sorry, and I was.
Oh
like,
yeah, that's AJ Finney.
I loved that.
Ah,
Yeah, I
yes.
was like, whose is that? That one made me laugh.
Yes, that one-
sincerely.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, there was nothing clever. It was just mean, like, not even. I don't know. It's hard to say it was mean spirited, but it was just like you said. It was ignorant, and it just it didn't see very far ahead into like what consequences your words were actually saying, what they meant to other people, which is kind of the whole idea and point of what it is that we're doing. Like, you make a joke because you're playing with the perceptions of what you're saying or
Right.
writing, and if you are gonna say something like that, and you
We're the
don't,
last
and by the
modern
third comment
philosophers.
you don't see like, oh yeah, this, oh yeah, right, but like the third comment you see is like, oh, this is bombing. You can delete. You don't have to stay on stage forever. Like the fact that you got screenshotted and then got thrown around on other people's posts on Facebook, that's your fault because you left it up too long. You should have paid attention. But instead of going to the comments and fighting over it, what an idiot. I don't know. I don't care.
Fire and ran, man. You just throw that pot down and let it burn.
Yeah, do that.
And then just run away.
That's the only Facebook arguments I ever get into is once every 9 months, I will make one comment on one person's like status. And then, yeah, you don't get into it with them. You just let the diatribe, is that? Yeah, you just let it go and see what happens. Yeah. One time I made in the Colorado Springs comedy Facebook group, 2 people were getting into an argument. I just made like a little meme, just a little meme caption, and I put it in there. I just backed up and like whatever. And the person who was arguing commented on that meme like 4 times. Like, I just think it's funny that you spent all this time thinking about me. I'm in your head. And then 14 minutes later, it's like, actually, I was just thinking about this. And it's like, you took the time to make this because you're so obsessed with me. And like 6 minutes later, it's like, I've been thinking about this, and what's actually bugging me? It's like, I think I'm in your head.
I'm talking about real estate, baby. My wife told me never get into real estate.
Dude, I told Cameron on the drive up here.
Yeah.
At one point, I was just really miserable with the jobs I had, and I told my wife, I'm like, maybe I should just like get into real estate. And she like grabbed me by the thigh earnestly, and it was like, real estate is where people go when their dreams are dead.
It's
like
true.
You can't. Please,
true.
Russell, you still have life in your eyes. As your wife, I want nothing less for you than for you to get into real estate. And now, every other person I know, comedians included, I feel like, is either a barista or in real estate, and only one of those is like semi-sustainable. Every other
gives you carpal tunnel.
That's true.
I'm sitting over here with weak wrists.
Sucks. Didn't you tell me your wrist guard? You lost it.
I haven't. I lost my wrist brace that I have to sleep with. I got with is a weird term. But I lost it and I just haven't replaced it.
I thought you like dropped it in a toilet or something.
No, that was something I did. I dropped a sleeve thing I have for this hand in a toilet. Yeah, and then it was just done. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna go to Walgreens and get another. I'll just suffer through this pain. It's good. I'm not a barista anymore.
So that helps.
Yeah, had to quit.
Is that your biggest injury? Is carpal tunnel?
Right now, well, I have tendonitis in my elbow, and I have a high ankle sprain, and then I have carpal tunnel. So my tendons are shutting down. But sports, don't do them, kids.
Roger, any big injuries? Being an artist.
Being an artist. It's easy.
I don't know, other than my heart hurting all the time.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe. No, my heart, I'm fine. But I don't think I have... No, I don't have any injuries.
No?
Actually, I'm pretty...
Lord bless you.
Yeah. I've survived 36 years on this earth without, like, any chronic... anything. I'm pretty boring for this podcast right now.
No, that's fine. We'll get some out of you.
We'll find something.
We'll get some gobbity out
sure.
of you.
No, I don't have any. Like, I mean, I hurt my knee when I was running, and so I have to just be careful. But I mean, that wasn't even a. That's all. Yeah. Ow, my knee. No, I don't know. I had shin splints once.
That's fun.
Oh, not.
I don't know what shin
splints are.
It sounds like
if you
a
don't
very
work out
old
for a while
man.
and then you like run or physically exert your legs, this will tear and it feels so bad.
It is awful.
Kind of stabby pain.
And I had shin splints like after having ran a lot too.
Weird.
Yeah, it was because I was trying to do an exercise and I ran backwards for like a quarter mile.
Oh, that's all this muscle.
Yeah, and then I could not run again for 3 months. It was awful. I had to like really work. It was so bad.
When I hear shin splints, I think like not Kegels. Shingles. Like shingles. Not
They're equally painful.
When I think of shin splints, I think of Kegels.
I had a friend in
It's
sixth
the only
grade
way you can
have
work out.
shingles. He got shingles in 6th grade, which is like an old person thing. It's like it's like grown, not smallpox, chicken pox.
Yeah, I was about to.
It's a pox.
My wife would be able to talk all about this right now.
Your wife's fun.
She's great.
I like your wife.
She's
Say
nice.
some, earn some credit. Say something nice about your wife.
You're working through a lot right now that
out.
I'm not allowed to talk about right now at the moment, and you're doing it, and you're doing a great job, and I love you, and you're gonna keep doing a good job. We can't talk about the thing yet.
That was very encouraging.
Yeah, it was very vague too, which is not good. Again, not good for the podcast, but I can't talk about it.
That's fine. I feel like you could have said lovely personality.
Yeah, that's true. She
kind-hearted. Not
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You're going through a lot.
What do you like about your wife? You're going
You're
through
going through
a lot.
whole lot right now. I like her resolve. That's
Tough, strong woman.
Sturdy. She's a sturdy, a real port in the
God,
storm.
She loves
This woman.
that joke from Lizzie Wolfson so much. It's her favorite joke.
What
And
is it?
It's like, oh, like if you put me in, like Lizzie Wolfson says, like, you guys can tell I'm lesbian, but you put me out in Nebraska, I'm just a sturdy woman.
Yeah.
It is so funny, and it lights this room up so much. I'll be doing something or have to run around, but it's like, oh, she's about to tell the joke. I've got to stick and listen to this because this is going to be great.
Speaking of which, we are. I said before, but we're in the Comedy Works green room. We're here for the Funny Final Four.
Deacon's weirdest comedy contest.
It's the
it's
Funny
cool.
Final Four, which means there are 5 teams and 1 extra team. There's 5 plus 1
There's
teams
five
in the Funny
teams.
Final Four.
Octagonal,
And each one of those
hexagonal
teams
format.
has 12 people on it, 11 people.
11 people plus 2 pros.
At no point is 4 any apart.
There's no
I'm assuming
4.
it's like a basketball thing.
It's happening during March Madness.
Okay. It's wild how none of it adds up to 4. It's very confusing. But we are on. There's team captains, and team captains pick different comedians to be on their team, and we are on the team that no one picked. It was called the Cinderella team, which means no one picks you, and Roger feels so bad for you that he puts you on a team to like help make you feel better. And look at old Russell and Cammy.
Here we're all here.
About to quit.
me,
We were almost done.
me, George Delgado, and Ryan Ergo, I think are two-time Cinderella
Cindy's.
alums.
Two
Two
Cindy's.
times no one
Two-time
has picked
Cindy's.
us, which there are people who don't get picked at all.
Right.
But still, it still hurts
It's-
knowing.
it,
but it
like-
brings a fun energy to the show
The
where you're like, no one picked me.
yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah. It makes it
bitch, and the click you claim. I've been saying
on.
that a lot.
Click you clam.
That's Tupac. Click you claim, not click you clam.
Clicky clam.
Like,
I'm not explaining hip hop
Okay.
to Russell on this pod.
no, not this is not the right pod for that. But I will say that I think the team Cinderella is like, I mean, there is the whole chip on the shoulder. I didn't get picked on the other shows. But if you look at the makeup of other shows, sometimes you see like, oh, you clearly just picked your friends.
Yeah.
You weren't picking from necessarily based on the best show. You were just like, what's funny when putting this show together, picking your captains and having them go through the draft is like watching them have to go through their little draft pick because they have to deal with the politics of like, oh, this person's going to be pissed at me, especially if I don't pick them because of our relationship. Oh, and
Even
like,
though it's going to be a worse show, I have to pick them
like-
or they'll be mad at me.
exactly. And so then what's fun for me is I get to pick people that's like, oh, because you're stuck in this little world, like I can do a little fuck you and pick all the folks that's like, oh yeah, this is going to be a rad show because
Roger doesn't have any friends.
I don't have it at all.
So,
I have no
zero
friends,
worries
and I
there.
can ruin any relationship that I have.
He'll burn
and
any
I don't
bridge.
care. We heard the whole thing I said about pronouns. I don't need to talk to him ever again, and I'll be fine. It's fine. But then I get to pick my own show, and that show, you like, even during Deacon's time, I really loved when I was door staff watching this Cinderella show. I don't know. I think the Team Cindy show ends up being so much more fun than like these other shows.
Yeah.
Um,
There's no pressure.
no pressure at all. You're not getting scored.
It's a
Nothing.
one-off.
Yeah.
I
you
would
just-
still like Only If I Get It. I would still like for there to be a post of like who the MVP was. Again, only if I get it. But I would still like that. If Cameron is the MVP, don't say anything. But if I get it, I would still like a public acknowledgement.
There's not going to be any scoring, but I'll just make it that Russell's the MVP
Thank
tonight.
you.
Just,
On the record.
And that's in tape.
That's it.
Cut the cut. Moving on.
In the thing you're gonna put, and Russell told me he is the MVP. Babu.
Hey, ba-ba-boom.
No, I would like now having like seen it for. It's been going for 2 years after COVID.
2 times post-COVID or post-lock. Yeah, post.
And
Well, we started one before COVID, and then it got interrupted because of COVID.
Right, because that was like March.
Yeah. And
yeah.
it was like the next week was supposed to be the Cinderella show, and I was really looking forward to it. And it wasn't until 2022 or 23 that I was able to actually host the Team Cindy.
Yeah.
So that took a long time for me to feel like, okay, now everything's fine. All
Yeah.
the things that were canceled are now not canceled.
Everything's
anymore.
back
Everything's
on.
back. But yeah, there's been 2 full Funny Final Fours since lockdown, or post lockdown. Yeah, and I have no idea if they're going to do it again. It's so hard to try to explain it every year for setup purposes. I'll probably have to do it again, even though I'm not going to be new talent coordinator anymore. They're going to call me up like, Roger, how does this work again? Well, it's Funny Final Four, but there are 5 teams plus one. I saw this whole team interstate way back. And I was back whenever there was.
It is a complicated process.
It was so complicated.
But I like it. I think like if I were ever to be picked to like captain a team, I have thought about it from like, I would, because one time Brian Sullivan captained a team and he's from the Springs and he picked like 2 people from Colorado Springs. I was like, you didn't bring the whole team with you? What the hell,
Yeah,
Brian?
Yeah. I remember he said something to me about, I wanted to choose you. And I was like, you coulda.
At any point, you were fully in charge.
Actually, I don't even think I'd done New Talent Night then because I was so late. I was like, I've been doing comedy like 2 years. I should probably start
At some
signing
point,
up.
I should think about it.
Yeah, and then I just came in hot and late.
Well, I honestly, in one way, that's a better way to do it because then
I'm okay with it.
you get your B set in like 3 sets because like, oh, he's clearly already good at stand up.
Yeah,
as opposed to some people who they do it like 2 weeks into stand up, they do their first thing here.
Yeah.
So they have to
Here.
go through their first 2 years as a C set. Whatever.
Wow.
That's not important. That's
It
not
is
interesting.
so miserable to watch. Like as someone who has to see it week in and week out, that like watching that person, like, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm like, are you? Because you could not, and we could save us all a lot of trouble.
A lot of time.
It would be great.
I want to know. Maybe you have this written down somewhere, or maybe Deacon did, or something. I want to know what is the longest. Who is the longest reigning C set?
Oh,
who
Billy Joe Gillespie. I mean, that may be not true,
Perfect.
but that's probably it.
All right, well, answered, asked and answered. That's incredible. That's so funny.
Are you gonna bubble that one out? Because that'd be.
Do you want me to blur that one
I
up?
don't know.
one's getting
I don't
clipped
care.
in TikTok.
That sounds great. Fine with me.
You
I'll
tell me what
spill
you
all
wanna
the tea.
cut.
Ask me all the new talent questions.
Where
the bodies are buried, all of that. I
For-
will tell you as much as I legally am able to.
If I was ever picked as like a captain for Funny Final Four, I was like, I would love to do like a WCW invades the WWF angle where like I just bring all of Colorado Springs comedians up and then we just do like a double middle fingers to Denver. I don't care about winning. It is for the principle of the matter. It is not about winning. But I know even with an idea like that, I would get like, we're picking your team. I would pick 3 Springs people in a row. Someone else would go like, I see what he's doing, and then just pick another Springs person just to take them from me. So now it's like,
But the Springs wins in the long run because we all get picked.
we
all get picked.
I'm taking the bullet for the team. But yeah, then it would be like, why does Russell have 4 people from Colorado Springs and then also Eland is there? I'm like, Eland's good, don't get me wrong, but he's not with us. I want it to be
You
known.
set it up that he has a mailing address in Colorado
He
Springs
has
for some
to-
reason.
everyone-
For some wildlife thing that he's does down there.
Castle Rock.
People who accidentally get picked from Denver have to wear a shirt acknowledging they're not with us.
Yeah, scarlet red lettering.
They
on
have to sit in a different green room.
Yeah.
Maybe that looks bad. It's like, well, Eland has to sit in a different gray room. Not
Ooh.
because he's from Denver. It's not for any other reason. Yes, we have another water fountain. That is a different thing. It's because he's from Denver.
This is where we turn the camera. Now we really are gonna kick Russell off of his own podcast.
We just canceled Russell. For
Yeah,
the episode.
yeah.
I'm into that.
No one can cancel me. I'm uncancelable.
Sure.
I have the light of Christ on my side, as you could tell from the last thing I said.
To save you too. You're
Thank
like,
you.
I'm Christian, but I brought a gay guy.
I've covered all of my bases. You
Yeah, you're
can't be
welcome
mad at
for
me.
my bisexuality. You're welcome.
I have a gay.
I only
thank
use
you.
it for you, so you can get booked on stuff. 'Cause you're like, he's got that gay friend. And I'm like, yeah.
We ran out of people on this Latinos only. Well, Russell has a gay friend. All right, now we got somewhere.
Russell's friend's been to Mexico. I'm pretty sure, and I'm not talking metaphorically.
You've been to a mission trip in Mexico.
7 times.
A mission trip in Mexico?
Yeah.
I actually have gone once.
Everyone's
back
done a
when.
mission trip to Mexico.
And
Everyone's building houses for those poor Guatemalans or
Yeah.
whatever.
went to
I guess
Chiapas.
Mexicans.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking of Guadalajara, and I said Guatemala.
Yeah. That
Good save.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
uncancelable, everybody.
Uncancelable. You can't take me. I always wriggle my way out. I think
Like a greased pig.
like a little rat.
You nasty rat.
I think it's Mike Hammock has a joke about like no wonder all these like Mexicans are coming up to the United States to like build construction because we keep sending our little white Christian slaves down there to take their jobs. Like they keep building hospitals. I'm sure they would love to build those hospitals.
Yeah.
We just keep trading free labor back and forth.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
I
you're
know
part
how
of
to
the problem.
lay concrete. I'm like pretty good at it now because I've laid like
That
7
is a wild thing.
foundations of churches. I'm like, well, cool.
Every video I've ever watched about setting concrete or like putting a foundation in their home, like get a trained professional. This is the foundation of your home. You don't want to take any chances. But they're constantly sending 6th graders down to go like build a church that will.
I was in charge of mixing it in 8th grade. I was the one guy on the mixer, and I'm responsible for probably that collapse in Monterrey, Mexico. Whoops.
Was it a real deal mixer or was it like on the ground?
deal.
Okay.
Yeah, we were a
Interesting.
construction site.
Oh, you were
Yeah.
like, okay.
There was
He
rebar
drove the
everywhere.
car.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like just whistling at people, honking a lot. It was fun.
That's cool.
And I looked like this down there, so they were like, "This guy's older. He's not a teen. He's a grown man helping us." I'm like, "No, I play high school sports." Yeah. Anyway, Mexico.
Do you feel your body getting older and deteriorating, Roger?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's starting to get there. Well, guys, I never did any mobility or stretching at all. Like for any.
Should I start doing that?
Yeah, you really.
Okay, I've never
everyone
thought about it
really
in my
needs-
life.
Everyone needs to do that. That's. I don't have injuries now, but I'm going to have really bad injuries down the road.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
am not flexible whatsoever. I cannot touch my toes. It's bad. Like I would just ride my bike, no warm up, no cool down, no nothing, and I would ride 80 miles, and then I'd come home and say, "Well, okay, I'm gonna do something else now," and just not take care of my body.
There's a line in
It's so bad.
Zombieland where Woody Harrelson says, "You ever see a cheetah stretch before it pounces on a gazelle?" It's like, "No, correct. That's why you don't stretch." And I heard that in Zombieland one time in 2008. And I'm like, you got it, Woody Harrelson's character. I will never stretch before physical activity.
Because of a cheetah. Yeah.
Yeah, bad advice.
I used to, when
Terrible.
I was wrestling in high school, I was really bad. I did not know how to wrestle. I was just on the wrestling team because my friends were. So I'm like, how hard could it be? Extremely difficult. But the one thing I had, and I had to wrestle varsity because there's no one else in my weight division. There's like people heavier and lighter than me, but just no one was at 170. So I just had to be on varsity. So I'm wrestling like the number 2 guy in the state in my 3rd ever wrestling match and just getting destroyed.
Yeah.
But I wasn't strong. I wasn't I didn't know how to wrestle. So all I really focused in on was like, I could just be the gumbiest little boy out there.
Big bendy.
So I just got as stretchy as I could to where they'd like pick
Ew.
my leg up for a single leg and they would just like put it up over my head and I would just stand and look at them and be like, huh? Pretty good. But then they would just kick my other leg out. But I got stretchy as hell. Like it's the one thing I had. And there be times where I'm dating my Lydia. I was dating Lydia at the time. And so I'm just stretching on the phone with her. So we're like talking. It's like, oh, Mrs. Kerbopple's being a bitch or whatever. And then she would just hear me go like, She's like, are you are you? And I'm like,
Cranking
oh,
off.
I'm stretching. I am almost doing the splits. I would like put one foot on my bedpost and just like keep pushing my hips out to like try and learn how to do this. But she would just hear me on the phone and grunting and groaning, going like,
Sound like an old Japanese man. That's crazy.
"Hey."
Yeah, now you do. All right.
Yeah, I used to be real stretchy. Used to be real bendy.
Don't like how you keep saying stretchy.
Stretchy.
Flexible is the word you're looking for.
Yeah. You can't say stretchy without following it up with Armstrong, because that's really.
Yeah. Are you being pulled across a room separate directions?
Sorry, I'm
like
younger
William
than
Wallace?
both of you. I don't know what Stretch Armstrong is.
Eat my
Get
ass,
out.
Russell.
Get out.
Stretch yourself into your own ass.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We're we're really taking over the
Stretch
podcast.
Armstrong.
He's great. I saved up forever.
All you need.
As a kid, I saved up for a Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah.
And my dad was so sick of me talking about it that
Sure.
we were walking into the gas station. And he threw a $5 bill down on the ground to help me with my savings. And I was like, I found a $5 bill. I could finally buy a Stretch Armstrong. I was like, oh, great
like,
job,
"Thank
Roger.
fuck."
Jesus. And then I bought a Stretch Armstrong and I broke it the second day I hammered it.
Really?
Yeah. It's like,
'Cause you can-
stretch it
if you
so
stretch
much
it
and
too
they
far,
rip the arms
they don't
apart.
tell you how far to
Yeah,
stretch.
They don't give you the limit, which is
No.
really important.
'Cause it's just
No,
you-
you're not part of it. Yeah.
It's just you and another friend on the other end of the room yanking a grown man in a
Yeah,
leotard
it was
as far
great.
as you can.
Yeah.
Have you felt one recently, like what it feels like?
No.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Like in the past year, I've stretched a Stretch Armstrong, and it's not satisfying. It's hard.
no.
Like it's pulling taffy is satisfying.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Like, are we talking like a Stretch Armstrong that is old?
No,
or
like it was
aged,
like
or a brand new.
a brand new one, like that same
Oh,
thing. It
interesting.
feels whack.
Like a fine wine.
I hate
Yeah,
it. Like
I
a
was
good
wondering.
cheese. No, that would probably disintegrate, I think, over
Yeah,
time. But it really was like, it's hard and not good. I doubt it would. Why was I about to say this? It'd be weird to crunch in your mouth. It would be awful. Like that
Oh, yeah,
consistency
yeah,
is
yeah,
like
yeah.
bad. It's like bubble gum that you can't get through.
No.
Yeah.
I'm remembering
Waxy.
Do you remember like there was also the bad guy Stretch Armstrong, and he had like crumply arms, like
Oh.
like it would stretch out, but it looked like because you said crunch something, and I'm like
it looked
the
like a
underside of
nerd's rope,
crunch bar.
kind of. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it did look like a
Underside
nerd's
of a
rope.
crunch bar.
Yeah, and it just like had all this stuff, and is the camera not working anymore?
Yeah, keep talking.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you
Cool.
just stopped the pod.
Two of you
taking over.
I thought
We're
you just
taking
stopped
over
the
your pod-
podcast and we're
Is
just
it-
talking.
The battery, I'm not ending.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
ending the podcast we stole from you.
Yeah.
Is this still going to be in the podcast though? Is this part of the usual interruption that every podcast has of
Yeah.
yours, where someone comes in because they're from the bar? And they're like, "Da-da-da-da." Like, man, those
We'll
are
be
always-
back
we'll-
in 2 moments.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's that spinning screen of the countdown thing that's in every
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
And it's like a
Please
picture of a
stand
cat. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Let me interrupt.
Bad Flesh
Okay,
Armstrong.
back
Wait,
to Stretch
I almost
Armstrong.
called him Flesh Armstrong. That's nasty.
Oh yeah. No.
Ooh.
But I just remember there was a bad guy, and there was Stretch Armstrong, and I think there was a sidekick,
Yeah.
and that's all I recall.
It's weird, Russell, that you mentioned Gumby and you're that show was made like a stop motion from the 50s. Like, get the fuck out, dude. You know Gumby? That's the gayest thing
Gumby?
I've ever heard.
Oh man, okay, so there's Gumby.
Yep,
there's
Gumby. Pokey was a horse,
There
and
was
then
the
there was the
yellow
hot.
dinosaur.
Yeah, there was the
can't
and then there was there a girl?
There's a girl who was pink.
Was that a Canadian show? Was Gumby Canadian? Because they had
know.
Canada was fucking around with stop motion
Yeah,
in
they
the
were.
80s, 90s.
Yeah,
they were loving it, dude.
Yeah.
Pingu.
I
Did
didn't
you
know
watch?
Pingu.
It was it's a penguin that mumbles French. It's not real French, but it's and his mouth gets real long.
Yeah, okay, I
Yeah,
watched
dude.
Pingu. I just
Pingu's
never
pretty
knew the
cool.
name of it.
Pingu.
Pingu.
Beep, beep, beep,
Pingu.
beep,
Pingu.
beep, 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 beep,
There's
Pingu.
Gromit and Wallace.
I have the
Oh,
With
nice.
the little
okay.
glove on him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I love Wallace
Man,
and Gromit.
we're really into this.
Yeah.
I love, you're
Oh, hi,
just
Russell.
on your phone. Oh, yeah.
Oh, hi,
hi,
Russell.
Russell. Hi.
On Reddit.
No,
we gotta keep it consistent.
Keep it consistent.
We gotta keep it
Okay.
consistent.
That was
Well,
that was fun.
I'm glad
that
you
was
two
fun to
have-
do a little Bubble Boy takeover.
you
yeah,
guys
we
have
should do that
had
again.
some time to
we'll
get
do
to
a
know
guest,
each other.
A guest started. We'll do like a guest pod.
Actually overthrow it.
Yeah.
Do a WCW invades.
Yo, that'll be great. That'll be huge.
When Bubble Boy becomes, a nationally syndicated
Yeah, like
podcast,
Yeah.
I'll have a podcast umbrella, and you guys can be a subsidiary. of that.
We should just do
Cameron,
this
you can have a
next week
third
anyway.
podcast that goes nowhere.
Oh, thank God. That's honestly my dream, is to just have another one that tails off. That was really good. I liked that, actually. That was great.
What is the Loonies podcast coming back?
I don't know. Tracy can't hear out of one of her ears right now, so we're having to overlook that.
Okay.
I don't know. It's going to be a while. I don't know, dude. I opened a business. I'm too busy now.
That's true.
What's your business? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, pitch.
I opened an art studio with my mom, and
cool.
we teach art and also just kind of create in there. So we have like classes for adults, classes for kids, classes for both together. You can just come hang out, create stuff. Yeah, Lola's Art Studio.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just paint every day. So
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
yeah, it's weird. Just like people are like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "I'm an artist." Oh, I like vomit because I'm in Colorado Springs, and they like kind of stone you if you do that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just a liberal arts dream. Yeah, it's fun, but
That is really
come
cool.
paint. Come paint. All 10 listeners. We can do a full pod. We can do a live pod of Bubble Boy.
That would be
We've
fun.
done 2.
Yeah, there's been 2 pods in there.
Instead of doing like a wine and paint, whatever those are,
Yeah.
you do like drink soda pop and paint.
Yeah,
I
pop
said,
and paint.
Pop and paint.
Do you think that
Pop
would
and
sell
paint with
tickets
Bubble Boy.
If it's like, okay,
Bubble Boy.
me and Cameron are gonna be on stage with a table doing a podcast, but then it's like instead of sketching a nude figure, it's
you're sketching us do a pod?
Sketch us do a podcast.
I'd rather have AI art do it than fucking Jesus. That actually makes me really
There's nothing,
sad.
I don't
of
think
people
there's a
painting
wider
pod.
thing.
Oh man.
There's not a.
I'm getting straighter by the second. No.
There's nothing more gentrifying
Yeah.
than a live sketched podcast
Christ.
for
no.
$45.
I'm never doing a pod again. I'm done. I'm done podcasting. I'm taking it out of my bio.
Does your bio say
No.
podcaster
I don't plug
extraordinaire?
it. I don't plug anything I do. I forget.
Roger, you got anything you want to plug?
Oh yeah. Is this the end of the podcast
No.
now? Because we usually. Oh, okay.
No,
'Cause
I got-
It's like usually you have them do it at the end.
No, I just
And
he
then-
got to talk about his thing.
Okay.
You want to talk about your thing?
What is my thing? I'm quitting New Talent, and
Yeah.
that's been wild. I have all my shows are on my phone, and I put it away to.
I meant like your actual big thing.
Oh, my big that you're on the board of?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the exec director for Denver Philharmonic Orchestra, which is pretty cool. We have a concert on May 23rd, and if you are listening to this, you get a free ticket. Just let me know. But it's really, really, you know all about it. Cameron, you don't know anything about this. I'm going to look at you while I'm talking. Yeah. So,
Tell me
take
about
it
the
over.
Philharmonic.
So
hate this episode.
this is great.
You brought
I
me.
love taking this away from Russell so much.
My mom's
so-
gonna be pissed.
She loves me.
So Denver Philharmonic Orchestra has been around. This is the 76th year of it. It
Whoa.
was founded by the first woman to ever conduct the New York Philharmonic.
That's fucking cool.
She came down here to audition for the Denver Symphony. Was declined or denied 2 times, and no one knows exactly why, but and I'm not going to say that this was what they said or did, but generally women are not seen at the conductor's podium, and especially back
Sure.
75 plus years ago.
Absolutely not, yeah.
Like that was not a thing. It was
Yeah.
and the big deal about that was that like women were getting on the conductor's podium more often because of World War II, because there
Right.
were less
Everyone's
folks,
fighting over there.
everyone's fighting and dying. And so you saw more of it.
Right.
And then so she came over here. So then she said, "Screw it, I'm going to start my own orchestra." And she called it the Denver Businessmen's Orchestra, and it was for folks who still wanted to play at a super high level, but were not able to necessarily perform music as a professional living.
Sure. Couldn't do it full time.
Yeah, they just had to, because they were doctors, they were lawyers, they were all those other things. So she started that, and she's truly a trailblazer, because there were just no women conductors back then. But
Yeah.
she was so good.
And to start your own like company through that too is huge.
It's awesome. And then she went through a renaissance, I think, through like the late 70s, early 80s, and started doing a bunch of conducting all sorts of orchestras around the world, and Japan and the, Europe and what have you. But she was really cool. So we still exist, and we're named Denver Philharmonic Orchestra these days.
Sure. Because her name was Philharmonic.
Exactly. What's actually really sad is because the name, she passed away, and they changed her name to, or they changed the orchestra's name to the Barico Symphony. But then over time, people didn't know who Barico was, so then he's like, "Oh, we can't call it that anymore." It's like, no, that was a great name, because that's the whole.
Yeah, because it's her.
It's her. It's the story. There's so much there. And then they changed it to the Centennial Orchestra, and then the city of Centennial became a town. It was before it was unincorporated, and then it became. Yeah.
We're like, all right.
You're like, crap. So let's call it the Denver Philharmonic Orchestra, and then everyone thinks that we're the Colorado Symphony by name. So everyone, it's
Nice.
just like
Perfect.
yeah, it's real. So, but we're a really small community orchestra, like small in terms of revenue and what have you. Like, but it's a full 80+ piece group, and we perform 6 programs a year. Next season we're going to do 5 programs, 10 concerts.
Wow.
We're going to do a big free outdoor concert September 21st.
If you're listening.
On World Peace Day at the Denver Performing Arts Complex.
Nice.
So we got a big
the
grant.
autumnal equinox.
Yeah.
It's just what September 21st is, right?
Is that actually?
Yeah, there's
Is
the
it
equinoxes and the solstices,
right,
and
I
it
knew
is
about the
that
equinox.
3
Is
day.
it
It's
September
20th,
21st?
20th, 21st, 22nd.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
20th. So say
It's always going to be in the equinoxes and the solstices. The autumnal equinox, autumn
I love this.
equinox.
This is a great podcast.
The September
This
20th,
is
21st,
wonderful.
22nd, because it's that shift. It doesn't
Interesting.
suck. You suck.
You suck.
Yeah, just because you don't have a mic and you were scrolling through your own TikToks over there. I saw your face on your phone talking to a mic, and I was like,
Nathan Lund liked my Instagram.
oh, well then, yeah.
So when I saw he liked it, I then have to watch it and go like, okay, imagine I'm him watching this for the first time. You ever do that?
Well, yeah, I did when you sent me, because you were like, you were on Chubby Behemoth, and I was like, what? And then you sent me a
you weren't,
screen
yeah.
recording, and they were like talking about me, and I was like, oh my god, Nathan Lund, does Sam Talent know who I am? Huh? I was like in the airport, and then I showed my sister, and she's like, I don't know what this means, and I was like, cool, still no one, it's fine, all right, sweet, I'm gonna go get Chick-fil-A, I guess. Fuck me.
He was just like, yeah, Cameron Mackenzie, he was really good, and Sam's like, oh yeah, I think he hosted for me one time at Looney's.
They were like, he's Canadian. He's like Bill Hader and Tom Green together. And I was like, they remembered a thing about me. I'm Canadian.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I shat my shorts. It was great. Wow.
They said
They still let you on the plane?
Yeah.
After wow.
It was Delta.
Incredible. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Poopy shorts.
They said on that podcast, they're like, because Nathan Lund was talking about how he's on my show, which was very nice. But they were talking about it, and they're like, yeah, that lineup was fucking wild. And I've never known if that was a compliment or not a compliment, and it's
I
it's
think it's a
chewed
compliment, 'cause
it's
it was-
chewed up at me ever since.
It was me, Hannah Jones, Mike Hammock, Nathan.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a wild lineup.
was
That's a
wild.
positive wild lineup. That is a good wild.
I'm like, was that bad? Does everyone hate Mike? I thought it was just a handful of people.
No, it was great. It was lovely. Mike gave me a really good compliment after that. He was like, I've never seen you do more than 5 minutes. You have so many jokes. And I was like, yeah, I did 12 minutes, Mike. Of course I have jokes.
Supposed to do 15, but
No.
Don't tell him
no, he-
I started late. What are we doing? I was waiting for your audience to get there.
oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
We're doing a Loonies thing where it's like you get off at 10:45
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah. I was
Okay.
going by the clock on the wall.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I've never done loonies, and I don't think I could. Like, just hearing how strict it all is and stuff. I just feel like I'm
The
gonna.
clock is enormous.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you can't miss it.
You can't.
Okay.
Yeah. You
It's
get
not
up
that.
when you know, and then you can see Eric in the back if he gives you the light. It's really quick. It's this.
Oh, great, great.
goes,
It
this
doesn't
is-
sound any more intimidating.
And then
Wow.
He like you're
Wow.
like, did he just do like a tech deck trick with his phone? He
Yes.
spins it so
It's
fast,
so
at you.
Wow.
But
But he told you, he's like, I gave you time to get on and off. You should know. There's a clock, and then bam.
yeah.
Go. Yeah.
But it always
Wow.
I don't
But
know
if it's during a show, he's a little gracious, but after he'll talk to you.
Loonies.
Great.
God.
I love it. But he's the chillest guy because he checks everyone at the front door. So, like, he's the face you see. So
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that's the owner. He's right there. He dabs you up. Oh, it's Eric.
The show starts like if
very
the show starts at 9:30. But like
Yeah.
maybe we're still waiting for people. It never starts at 9:30.
It's very rare.
Very rare to start at 9:30, but you're the host, so you get off at 9:45.
Yeah.
But like sometimes you start the show at 9:32. Sometimes you start at 9:36. So like as you're watching the clock count down to when he tells you to get up, you're like, okay, what do I have to cut? okay, now it's been 2 minutes. What do I have to cut?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to like live figure out how much time you're
Sounds
gonna
so
do.
hard.
It's fun.
It
yeah,
sounds fun
come-
too. Like
come
a
cut
good
your
challenge,
teeth
but
at
it does.
Looney's.
Yeah, this sounds like.
And it's a great room because the crowd wants to laugh, but they're a little tough because they're like, make me. Like they're not gonna like give it to you.
Yeah,
like, this place
comedy
is
works
glorious.
as cheating.
I can go, and they're like, ah.
Yeah,
If
true.
I do that, Looney's are like, tell me something funny. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I love that.
I remember
Thank
the
you very
first
much.
time
Yeah.
I did new talent night here. It like my newbie set. It like the sound of laughter like almost physically pushed me back.
Yeah.
And
It's a wave.
I kept telling people after, I'm like, that is cheating. That's not actually how good I am.
Yeah.
Like Looney's is like, I have to earn your laughs. This is like you're
Yeah.
just giving, like you guys are a bunch of whores. You're just throwing it away.
It
You're
makes
just
you really
giving it
think
to
about
anybody
yourself when
who
you
walks
leave
up.
here because you're like, am I good or not? Like I just did well, but what does that mean here? They're just ready.
You did Pike's Punks. You did very well at Pike's
thank
Punks, and
you.
you were very nervous about
I was
it.
nervous because I'm super left, and I was just like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know because I did You Look Like at Looney's, and God, and I'm so like I could not have done.
If you're not
worse.
saying a slur, you're not winning.
Yeah,
You
it's
look
really
like.
what it was. Because like when they brought someone up from the crowd and they were wearing a Punisher T-shirt, and I was just like, I can't do anything here. I
That
lost.
guy's gonna hit me.
I'm gonna get hurt. But I felt pretty good. I got to. I remember some of the riffs I did up top at your show. And those went well, and I have them written down, and I'm going to refer to them every time I go to the Springs from now on.
Perfect.
So I can, quote unquote, riff again on it. But like looping back, you guys are right about like this room being a cheat code.
What's up?
Oh.
No, come on in.
It's Mike. Oh, okay. That's just
You were
the
waiting for
usual. Oh yeah, it's the usual interruption that
Yeah.
happens in this podcast. Now I feel like I'm really living the Bubble Boy
You're
experience.
in it. You're
It's
in
great.
the canon.
But the like this show or like Comedy Works is cheating, and like you're talking about your newbie set, and like the newbies get the best introduction
Yes.
on the stage.
They hype
get
you up.
I was like, oh, it's their first time, so be really nice to them.
To then watch someone blow it.
Yeah. And like even if they blow it, like everyone like, well, if they blow it, it sucks and it's hilarious to watch. But like you still get like a good newbie set gets a bunch of laughs.
Yeah.
I've never felt better about comedy than after my 2-minute newbie set I did. And Lizzie Wolfson was hosting, and we're friends, so she was like, I'm going to say it's your first time ever doing comedy. And I was like, fucking please. And I went up and just like kicked the door down. I was like, fucking let's go.
Oh,
It was
man.
so fun.
That is great. I remember I did a joke that I do not do anymore, and it's the private squares dance. Hey, you guys know you guys are from the Springs. I feel like you might know the private squares. You don't know,
squares?
like, stop, don't touch me there. These are my private squares.
Yeah.
I did that up there. It was my first time ever doing.
Burn the house
Oh my
down.
god, it destroyed.
They carried you out
Because-
like Rudy.
Yeah, they did. Like there was
Roger.
Someone said it along with me, like, because I said the song, and like, because people were like, "What is?" Because there's a good amount of people that still don't know what that is. Then one person sang it along, and I was just like, "This person knows." Da, da, da. And then but like, I added other verses and added other dances to it, and I just remember it just bulldozing the whole space, and I'll never forget because Aaron Uris said like, "Good newbie set." After that, that was such a good feeling because he gave me the cold. Like this is not to talk
Phantom of
shit.
Denver comedy.
Yeah, right. I love yours so much, and the first time when I moved here, he gave me a cold shoulder, which I appreciate now in retrospect that he gave me a cold shoulder, and
He
then
made
he
you
gave
earn
me
it.
yeah, and then I got that comment was like good newbie set. I was like, oh yeah, that was great.
It's like your dad never let you win the fist fight until you finally hit him that one time, and it really
Yup.
rocked.
Rib in the living room.
It's like you earned this.
That happened.
Yep. And then my C set, I did the same thing. Pup, nothing. It did not work. Nothing. It's like newbies have like you said, when you walk out,
It's like beginner
no
luck
idea.
kind of
It's
thing.
like, oh,
Say it's fun.
it's gold.
They're
And-
on your team.
Yeah.
They want you to be successful.
Yep. And I will regularly tell newbies after their newbie set, I'm like, okay, that worked for your worked for your newbie set. Next time you get another minute, and it's not going to be as fun.
Yeah, they're
Like-
just you're another guy up there. You just you're flapping in the wind.
I love, you were here when there was a strange man who came with a Flava Flav clock,
Oh,
and
God.
he brought a baby Yoda with a do-rag on.
Oh God! And then he just like comes out and hangs out in the back of the room for every now and then. Oh man, that was miserable.
It was the worst thing I've ever seen. I was laughing so hard. And afterwards, they're giving notes in the back, and I can't, as he's talking, I can't look at him. I'm so uncomfortable. I can't look at this man. I can't look at him.
I remember
notes.
you were just
I was
staring at the ground, and you're just
staring straight down.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
so uncomfortable, and I'm looking at my phone, and I get a text from Roger that just says, "Look at me."
Because I needed you.
Don't avoid this moment. Be in this moment
I
with me.
needed to share this with someone because I was freaking out and I was just so mad. I was so upset about this because these fools will show up like and will just think that they're the top shit, and they will go in the group. They'll go back for notes and they'll just talk, acting like they're included. Like, no, you could not be less.
Who was
part
the
of this.
guy?
We don't like you. Yeah.
Who was the guy? I think the last time I was here for New Talent Night was the guy who brought his jacket on stage.
Oh,
do you remember
that
this?
guy?
A
God,
guy, like,
he's like from Boston or
Right.
something. He brought his jacket.
He made
and
a
that was
specific
one
note to
thing
talk about his jacket.
Well, what we always did, something we've encouraged folks to do is like, don't wear a coat on stage. Don't wear your coat. Don't wear something that you can take off because it looks like you have somewhere else to be, that you're not, like, you want to look comfortable. It's one thing to be, it's super cold here, we're in a basement, like there's something about like hooded
but
sweatshirts
if you're in full
and stuff.
mittens and a scarf and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm bolting immediately after this is done.
So
You're the coolest character to exist.
Yeah.
Whip out something good with those gloves.
I remember this guy. I think I was hosting that show.
Yeah.
No, was I hosting?
Yeah.
I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was pacing the back, and I was like, oh yeah, this tracks. And I asked him, I was like, all right, are you gonna take your jacket off? Like, you know? And he's like, oh no, I have a whole bit about it. I'm like, oh, you have a whole bit for your
About the
newbie
jacket.
set, a bit about your jacket. All right, let's see what happens. And so he walks on stage, he just puts it on the stool, and then doesn't address it at all. He didn't say anything.
But he like made a point to take
He
off
made
his
a
jacket.
point, do a whole Mr. Rogers thing to set it down, and then
Forgot it. Had
forgot
to come
it
back
all.
on stage
Yeah,
to get
had
it.
forgot it on the stage.
That's a great bit.
It was hilarious.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, my bad.
In the middle of like Andreas, he's like, I'm so sorry. Let me just get that. I'm so sorry.
Gonna grab that.
But then they were giving notes in the back, and I think Rick Kearns was like, "What was the deal with the jacket?" And he,
That's a good Rick Kearns.
And he was
what
like,
were you doing with the jacket? That jacket. What were you doing with the jacket?
Everyone's talking.
What the jacket?
"You took that jacket off. I thought there were gonna be some big gazungas underneath there." That's a real Rick move. You got me all excited about the gazunga jacket off. Get your gazungas out. Let me see those puppies.
Those sweater pumps.
But he was like, "What was
What
the
are your
deal with the
pronouns?
jacket?" And the guy was like, "Oh, I didn't have a thing. I was gonna do a thing with the jacket, and then I didn't want to do the jacket." And so then they were talking, and Rick's like, "No, but what was the thing you were gonna do with it? Like, what was the jacket thing?" He's like, "Well, I didn't do the jacket thing. I forgot to do the jacket thing." And Rick's like, "But tell me what the goddamn jacket thing was supposed to
Yep.
be." And the guy's like, "I didn't do the jacket thing." He's like, "I know you didn't do the jacket thing. Tell me what it was gonna be." And I think someone had to intervene. It was like, okay, why don't we all just... I think it was Georgia Comstock.
Oh,
She was like, why don't we all just
right.
drop the
I
jacket?
didn't get to see this because I was hosting.
Why don't we just drop the
Yeah.
jacket? I don't think the jacket's helping anybody. But they got into like a yelling match about... And then like near the end, like everything... Like Rick had given like his last note to someone. And then that guy was like, hey man, I'm walked up to Rick and was like, hey man, I'm sorry about the jacket thing. And Rick was like... But what was the goddamn jacket? But what was the jacket thing?
You got it. That's the thing. He's like, you got like. I love Rick so much. When he has a question, he wants to know. He can't let it go because he truly
He hyperfixates.
He hyperfixates, and it's very genuine. Is the other thing. Like,
Yeah.
he really does. He's not asking for the sake of asking or for some ulterior motive or trying to like rib on you or make you feel bad. Like he does genuinely want to know and understand, and that's like.
He's genuinely curious what cup size you are.
Yeah. Well.
For the joke.
For the joke.
It's about material.
Actually, honestly, that's really like I feel bad because those are his truest of true intentions, and he has done a lot of like work and self-improvement to try to figure out like, oh, okay,
The man's been doing
I
stand-up
gotta
for
do this.
65 years.
Yeah, well, there's that too. But he does like ask me afterward about like, okay, so what was that? Like, what's going on? Or like, I heard this thing, or I heard that this was
Trying to, like, get in touch.
yeah, because he's like, I don't know what I'm missing here, and I didn't mean it. And then when I explained, it's like, oh well, god damn it, and he gets mad and
Should-
then, okay,
Should
well
I
need
say
to,
my pronouns
should
are
I?
she, they
Yeah.
to get booked more? No? God damn it. Rick, you've done it again.
Come on, Rick. But no, he like that's like despite like the exterior or whatever, like he like deep down he does give a shit. Like he is really trying his best and really does care. And because that's what people don't see like behind the scenes is like that he's asking me questions, like asking like, okay, so what's going on here? What's the thing? And like, oh, we need to talk because I need to ask you a question about this thing or that thing, and I need to learn. I need to get better. And like he is. Yeah, I don't know. That's all. That's all. We can finish that.
You said more nice things about Rick than you did your own wife.
I did.
You really got heartfelt.
Yeah, Rick's not going through much.
Rick's not going.
But my wife has resolve.
She has resolve.
She has resolve.
Dirty woman.
She's oh boy. She won't listen to this anyway.
She won't.
She-
Wives don't listen.
This
to
podcast.
No.
She'll never make it.
No.
Well, hey, we're at an hour. So before we end it though, I did get one more soda that I'm making you guys also drink.
Yeah.
You thought I was getting this for just me, but it's for all the boys.
I forgot all about
So I
this.
got a Dr. Brown's celery. Get a shot of that.
Hi, I'm Sel Ray. It's nice to meet you. Hi.
That was right in my ear.
How?
I don't
What's
like.
over here?
You said it, and I was like, "Who is this woman?" It was like in my
I
head.
touched you.
Okay.
In a metaphorical.
Cameron, you have
Yeah,
no
you do it.
microphone.
Oh,
Yeah.
but I
Who do you
double
think? Oh,
yeah.
these are some hissy bottles up here in Denver. That sounded homophobic. I don't know why.
phone. You're like sissy bottle. You old sissy.
All right, I'm gonna try some celery,
Yuck.
and we'll just pass it down the line like communion wine.
Okay. Oh, glug glug.
Yeah, that's a great soda. I have to say, okay, I was listening. I can't. That's what I was gonna. I can't do that sound. I can't do like especially okay right now. I
Physically,
know
you can't do it?
I know what you're doing is for the podcast to some degree, and you're trying to play in. But when I'm at the dinner table and I hear someone
Hearing a smack like that.
I get livid. I get so mad. I had an ex-girlfriend at the time when we were going out, and we played the dangerous game of like, what's the one thing you would change? And she it got brought up in the context of like, I know we're not going to say anything about the other person. It was like a big joke, like, because you're not supposed to. And so she brought it up, and I was like, I wish you would stop smacking when you ate. It's like, you sound like a child. And she got devastated because she had no idea she was doing it. But it was so, and I still think about it to this day because she would take a bite. She would take a bite, and she would chew with her mouth closed, and she would just, do one. It was the most unnecessary.
You drink your
'Cause
milk
it's-
with both
It's
hands.
just
You're like,
one. Yeah. But it's like you're so in control of everything else, but you just every time you take a bite, you just let one happen after two bites.
Oh.
It would make me so upset.
Yeah.
The phrase, I think it's like mesothelioma is
No,
like
that's when you call a number.
oh, is
yeah,
that?
that's like a
What am I
medicine.
For asbestos.
Oh, okay. Well,
Did she
Mesothelioma.
eat when she
What am
held
I
her
thinking of?
spoon or fork? Did she eat palm down? Was she like,
oh my
Oh, like an
God.
actual child.
yeah, like an
That'd
actual
be
baby?
hilarious. No, she did not. She was so like had to be on
Mesothelioma.
top of everything for so long, but then she would just do that one thing, and I would just make me so mad. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a sip, and I'm gonna be in complete control of myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna make any sound.
Sure.
Because it drives me nuts. How easy was that?
Wow.
So easy.
Wow, wow,
so
wow.
that tastes like Sprite. I loved that. That tasted wonderful. Here's another thing. Oh yeah, you say your bit about this.
I like this.
It is,
And
good.
that's all I have to say.
One
That
of my
was very,
favorite-
very good.
One of my favorite sodas is called a Mr. Cucumber, and it tastes like cucumbers.
Mm.
It's incredible. I've always like That soda, Mr. Cucumber, is the only thing that I'm like, I bet this would be good with vodka in it. I bet this would be good for some reason.
Yeah.
This is very. It tastes like celery. Like you took
But it's like
soda
sweet
water and
ce-
put
it's like
celery
sweet
salt in
celery.
it. This is good.
Yeah.
It tastes exactly like celery. It's a little like
And not
you know
in a
like
negative
spicy.
way.
Have you had
Celery is
celery
weirdly
root?
spicy.
Yes.
Yeah, it
tastes like
feels
celery
more
root.
like celery root than actual celery.
Yeah.
This
but
is
that
good.
Sweeter.
We
Interesting.
should put the cap back on and save this for the other 9 contestants on tonight's show, and we'll
gonna
make
try one.
everyone take a sip of it.
We all wonder why we have the flu in a couple
no
days.
one will get
Spread
sick.
mono to the comedy scene.
All right. Well,
That's what we need.
hey,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, that's been the podcast.
And all those in between, and neither of those anyone who doesn't believe in any gender construct. Anyway, you said ladies and gentlemen, and I had to make sure to be inclusive.
Ladies and gentlemen, and
all
all
those in
you
be-
little freaks in between. Okay. Cheers, Roger. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Roger's gonna be on again in like 20 days.
Yeah,
'Cause he's
and then
coming down
maybe
the
again after
streets.
that.
Probably
I'll probably
again
be
after
down
that.
a couple times.
Bye,
Cameron,
kids. Thanks.
Roger, Bubble Boy. Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye.